All right, here we go, Braves fans. We're back after a week hiatus. Jason here with you, along with my co-host Mike, as we are going to talk some Braves baseball after another rough week, Mike. Another rough week for our Braves. A rough June actually for the Atlanta Braves. Welcome back, Mike. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I was going to say rested, but I mean, that was vacation, but I've been off for the past 5 weeks before that anyway. So I'm
Well,
very rested after today was my first day back at work, unfortunately.
all right. Well, I'm glad you're back at work, Mike. I mean, that's a good thing. As long as we're working, we're living, right? I mean, and the Braves had the day off, which honestly right now is probably a good thing for our Atlanta Braves. So I would encourage people who are watching us live right now on X, comment. I have done a little back and forth with some folks on X since yesterday's game. I've probably been a little over the top negative, maybe, but I'm just saying what I'm feeling. And Mike, honestly, listening to a couple of our Braves podcast brethren, I'm not the only one who feels like venting a little bit. So it's not just a 9521 out there. Look, we usually talk, specifics here, but, the last month has been tough, Mike. It's been tough. The offense has been rough. I know everybody is, I've read it on X. I know a lot of people have seen the stats. It's the worst offense in baseball for June. A 65 WRC plus, a 65. 100's league average, Mike.
Yeah.
The offense has been 65 WRC plus. So let me just get your thoughts, man. Where are you at right now with what's happened in June? And it's not just the offense. Obviously, the pitching is taking a step back. Where are you at right now? Where's your head at?
Well, I'm trying not to be a negative Nancy the entire time. Like I was just saying to you off the air, that we had an incredible start. We got ourselves a 10-game cushion at like mid-May. Can we honestly say that that's what we thought we were going to be the entire season? Was that going to be, were we just going to coast? Were we going to play that good and everyone else is going to play that bad the rest of the season? It's not realistic. That's just not realistic for anyone to possibly think. I know it feels like the sky is falling, but we're 49-33. That is 600 baseball. If I told you at the end of June this year that we would have the third best record in baseball playing 600 ball after last year, you'd take it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
So,
no,
it's a rough. Yeah, we've had a rough patch. That's it. It sucks. It's been most of June, but
yeah,
it's still just a rough patch.
It's a good point. We are still in first place.
Yep.
The Buccos did us a favor tonight as we record this. They took down the Phillies, so thank you, Pittsburgh. Yes, I agree. It's a rough spot, and it was gonna happen, at least as far as the Braves were not going to continue to play nearly 700 baseball all year like they started out, for sure. I think what worries me, Mike, and probably a lot of our Braves brethren, and I want to make sure we give everybody their time here. So Our buddy Rob says, Mike, you have the right perspective. Record is great. Peaks and valleys, for sure. I don't disagree with any of that. I don't disagree with any of that. What concerns me is this. The offensive performance in June is not necessarily the outlier. The offensive performance in April and early May is the outlier of the last 2+ seasons. If you look at 2024, 2025,
yeah,
the Braves are middle of the pack. And I pulled the stats, but I don't want to bore everybody with stats. But if you pull stats for 2024, 2025, the Braves are middle of the pack in OPS plus, batting average, runs per game. They're 15th, basically, in all of those stats. So not awful, but not great. And when the pitching's not great, which it hasn't been either, obviously Elder has the regression monster has hit Bryce Elder very hard. The regression monster has hit the entire pitching staff hard except for Chris Sale. And to some extent, Martin Perez continues to impress. League average offense is not going to get it done. So what concerns me is the guys that we're counting on to turn it around, they're kind of who they are. We know, is Austin Riley always been this bad? No, of course not. But he hasn't been great either since he signed that contract extension a few years ago. He's still the same guy that I think most of the league knows now. You can throw him a slider or a sweeper a foot and a half outside, he's going to swing at it with 2 strikes, right? Ozzie Albies, streaky hitter. He's going to swing at everything. He's going to hit some of them. He's going to miss a lot of them. You're not going to change these guys, Mike. I think that's what I'm concerned about is I think this offense needs a shakeup. I think it needs an injection of energy outside of the norm. I don't think we can count on, Acuna is going to come back. Well, great. I hope Acuna comes back soon. And I hope he doesn't leave again. And that's not a knock on Acuna. I love that kid. But you're to a point now where you can't rely on Acuna to be healthy. And so even if he comes back, first of all, is he the Acuna that we know from his MVP season? He wasn't before he left. He was hitting like 240. So, I know I sound negative. I'm gonna sound negative on this show today, and I get that. But I think it's warranted in some areas. Now, I will say I agree with what you said. I think you made a great point. I think a lot of the Braves fans' angst about this losing streak is tied to the winning of the Phillies. If the Phillies were playing mediocre baseball right now, it wouldn't be as big a deal. But to watch your division lead go from 10 games to 3 games in about 3-week span, I think any fan base would probably have a reaction there. So, yes, I agree. This could be just one of those times that a team goes through during a 162-game season. I also think it could be what this offense is, and that's what scares me is where do we get better offensively? Pitching, we get it. Double-A can make a couple moves, get us a couple pitchers. Waldrop comes back. Schwellenbach maybe comes back. Maybe Spencer Strider comes back. AJ Smith-Shawver looks like he's on his way back. So pitching, I feel like we can, with a move here or there and the young guys coming back, Mike, the offense, man, these guys just continue to swing at bad pitches, take bad at bats. And I feel like early in the season, they were taking better at bats. And now we're back to some of our opponent starters are getting into the sixth inning and only haven't thrown 60 pitches. Yeah. We're not working these guys. So that's where my concern is without being super negative, and I'll definitely give my thoughts on Alex Anthopoulos and where we're at with our GM and what he said over the weekend. I think a lot of people, maybe casual fans, missed a little bit of what he said. Maybe I've read too much into what he said, or maybe some people didn't read enough into what he said. But that's where I'm at, Mike. I feel like there's a lot of holes that need to be filled, and I don't know if Anthopoulos is going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and I get that, and I do remember seeing some of your back and forth with people on X about that, and
yeah,
I get it, and I do, and I think I'm not sure. See, I think I had to watch the interview with A again because I don't remember picking up as much as you did. But I think I only watched it once. Um, but when you're talking about the offense, yeah, it's been it had a great first couple months, and then this past month it's been trash. But there's been someone like Austin Riley who's been lackluster for the beginning of the season for the whole thing. Um, and given we didn't get Ha-Sung Kim back until May, that experiment for me has got to end. He's hitting what is it? 069, I think is what I heard. That's how can you put him
Yeah,
back out in the
it's bad.
field? Like,
It's real.
I,
Yeah.
I get giving him a chance. He's had enough of a chance at this point. He's not. I mean, I'm not saying DFA him, but how can you put him out in the field at this point?
I am.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm saying it. I'll say it.
But the only thought is I don't think you can DFA him because of the $20 million. But how can you put him back on the field at this point? He's a liability. He's good defensively, but he is. Yes, Rob, exactly. Please fake injury him. Like, I think I pulled a hamstring or anything. Please just get him off the field. Let him go down to AAA and have a rehab down there, and maybe get.
I think at this point, Braves fans would probably take up a GoFundMe
to pay for him.
I think Braves fans will take up a GoFundMe at this point to offset the $20 million. I mean, there's a lot of Braves fans out there, so we all just give like $5, But I don't even know what to think. He started. Yeah. I mean, he started every game of the Giants series. He's still. I think he's what is he now? You said it was like 069. That equates to like 5 for 71 or something. I mean.
That's
all singles.
Too much.
He doesn't have a hit. I don't think. Like, oddly enough, if I saw correct, I think it was from Mark Bowman. I think all his hits have come with people on base. Like with nobody on base, the guy doesn't have a hit yet. Like, which is really weird. And
I think one of them was a suicide bunt too.
It was. I remember that. Yeah. I want to say this too to all the people on X and social media who accuse me or anybody else of being too negative. Let me say this. I love this franchise. I have watched this franchise like you have, Mike, since I was a young kid. I love the Atlanta Braves. I love anybody who wears that uniform. I'm pulling for Austin Riley, man. I want that guy to succeed. I want Ha-Sung Kim to succeed. I want Bryce Elder to succeed. And I know they're working hard. I know that they're trying. I know that Riley came out in an interview and said he's really – he's distraught. He's upset. He wants to perform for the fans. He wants to perform for his teammates. I can't imagine how much that's killing him, to have to walk back to that dugout after, batting with runners on base and not coming through, and then the team loses the game. And then he makes a couple of fielding, I don't know if he was charged with errors in both cases, but makes a couple of fielding mistakes behind Chris Sale, who's pitching his butt off, and the defense lets him down. The offense lets him down. I'm not attacking these guys on a personal level. I can't hit a fastball. I can't hit a curveball. I never played organized professional baseball. But as a fan, and that's what we try to bring you on our podcast is, the fans' perspective, to watch this offense over and over again, to watch the same guys swing at the same pitches. And I'll tell you, like a lot of the times, if I'm not able to watch the game, I'm following it on my phone, like on the MLB app, and I am constantly amazed, Mike, at how fast our at-bats go. I'm like, okay, the other team got out. It's our turn to bat. And before I know it, we're out. 1, 2, 3. We have popped out, grounded out, struck out, inning over. And I'm like, we're not even challenging these pitchers. They're getting into this, like I said earlier, the 5th, 6th inning with 50 or 60 pitches. We got one hit the other day. We got one hit shutout, and And kudos to Logan Webb, by the way, for Walt Weiss said the offensive problem the other day was Logan Webb. Well, kudos to Logan Webb, but I think he had like almost a 4 ERA coming into that game. Excuse me, bless me. And then Robbie Ray. If you take away his 2 performances against the Braves the last 2 weeks or so, we faced him twice, his ERA is over 4. He faces the Braves and he turns into Walter Johnson. I mean, it's just like at some point, I look back and I think 2021, this is where I think the frustration really lies. 2021, we won a World Series we probably stole. Like, we weren't supposed to win the World Series that year, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a still very young core at that point. That was 5 years ago. Ozzy's still young. Ronnie's still young. He wasn't even really a part of that. He got hurt. We didn't have Matt Olson yet. Riley was young, and we thought Riley was going to be the next, kind of MVP guy. He's never turned into that. There was a window there where I felt like the Braves could make if not a late 90s Yankees type run, which is hard to do, but maybe more of a 2010s Giants run where they won 3 World Series in 5 or 6 seasons. And we squandered it. We lost 2022, 2023 in the first round. And these same issues really have been, we let Freddie go, we let Dansby go. And I'm not saying those were the wrong moves, by the way. Matt Olson, that absolutely seems like the right move right now.
Yeah.
But this team has had pitching depth issues and hitting issues for 2 years now. And our GM keeps saying we're going to address it with people in-house. We're going to do this. We're going to count on these guys coming back from injury. And here we are with Martin Perez as our second best pitcher because of that. And what I heard, and I want to address the comments that Alex made. Here's what I heard. Now, to me, you got to read between the lines, and you have to combine that with the history of what Alex has and hasn't done the last 4 seasons. What I heard him saying was he was already setting up the excuses for not doing a lot at the deadline. He kept repeating, or he said basically, hey, look, we don't know who the sellers are going to be, and because of the third wild card, there aren't going to be a lot of sellers, which is not necessarily an untrue statement. I'm not saying that that's not true.
Yeah.
But the fans don't want to hear that crap right now. The fans want to hear, Alex, what are you going to do to make this team better because we went from the penthouse to the outhouse in 30 days? And what I heard was, here's why I probably won't make as many moves as the fans are hoping for. And I don't want a GM that reacts to every little thing emotionally and reacts to the fans. I do want a GM that looks at the situation and says, this is untenable for this team. I've got to go out and make it better. And if you look at Alex's history as the Braves GM, he's never really done that except for 2021. And he got lucky that year. And I'm not trying to take a lot of credit away from the guy, but he basically signed everybody and their brother. He signed Rosario, Adam Duvall, Jorge Soler, Jock Peterson. There's no way he could have known that those 4 guys would all play a critical role down the stretch and in the postseason. No way he could have known that. There's just no way. No. So tell me another move he's made midseason or even in the offseason other than Chris Sale, which was also a gamble. So I'll give him credit for taking that risk on Sale, but people forget what a gamble that was. Sale couldn't stay healthy before he came to Atlanta. So that worked out. Kudos to Alex. I'll give him credit. What other move has he made that has made a difference for this team? And this offensive lineup has kind of been the same now for 3 seasons. And I don't know if we're waiting on Austin Riley, Ozzie, all these guys to just turn into different players, but they're who they are at this point.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, Mike. It's not that it's just this June swoon that we're talking about. This is a 3-year deal now. And I don't really have any faith in our GM to go out and make the big move. And what I heard him saying was, hey guys, this may be this. These are the reasons we may not do all the things you want us to do. And if we don't do those things, we're going to finish in the wild card spot. The Phillies are going to win the division, and we'll get bounced in the first round. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I get that. Like from what it sounded like from what you said again, I'm gonna have to watch it again just to be sure I'm hearing the same thing. But to defend him on one of the points, the whole thing of we don't know who the sellers are going to be, and that's true because there is no one in the AL that is basically out of it completely. Like, I think the Royals have the worst record in the AL, and they are 7 games out of the wild card. 7 is it's a big, discrepancy there. It's a big amount to overcome, but still 7 games. It's not really that much, especially with half the season still left to go. So almost any team in the AL is still possibly looking at a wild card. So now that means you've got the Mets. The Mets aren't going to deal with us. I look at the rest of our division. We're not getting anyone from our division because you're shooting yourself in the foot at that point. You're going to make yourself worse and make someone you compete with all the time better. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So now you've only got Colorado and maybe the Reds. Right. It's a short list, so I get what he's saying with that. But and like you were saying about the that's true. The Giants will sell because they're not going anywhere in the NL West either. And I wouldn't mind a rise, but I can't guarantee he's going to be able to play short because that's what we need. I've heard people say move Ozzy to short and put a rise at second. And why are you going to move Ozzy out of a position he's been playing for his entire career?
For a decade, yeah. No.
I don't see that. I don't see that move making any sense.
No.
I can't guarantee a rise is going to be able to play short. I've seen him in the outfield. I've seen him at second. I've seen him at first, and I always looked at him playing first, going, "Why? That doesn't make sense to have him there." But could he maybe play a little bit of left? Sure. That just gives us another spot and another player to fill another spot. But now, okay, so is Dubon going to come in to play short? Because at this point, again, I've just written Kim off. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'd sit on the bench, go fake an injury and go down to Gwinnett. That's fine.
Yeah. Same.
But I mean, he's to go back to what you're saying about 2021. You're right. He lucked into that because there's no way you're thinking, I'm gonna get the NLCS MVP and the World Series MVP at the trade deadline. No one sits there and goes, "Yeah, that's how I'm gonna play this season."
That was a pretty incredible second half of the season, and everything clicked and went right. And you have to give Anthopoulos credit for making the moves. However, I think we've given him too much credit for how it came out. There's no way he knew that they were going to be that effective. I don't think a guy like Arise is the answer. I'd rather get a guy. And honestly, in this day and age, as much as Arise was a thorn in our side over the weekend because it's hard to get the guy out. I don't think it translates to a lot of W's. I mean, look at the Giants' record outside of playing the Braves. I'd rather have a guy like J.J. Bleday, honestly, who's only batting like 240, but he's got 13 home runs. He's got some power. He's got some pop. The Braves need some of that. I mean, they're last in everything in June. They're last in home runs. They're last in run score. They're last in average. They need something to shake that lineup up. And I want a guy with some pop who can be a threat there. As far as Anthopoulos, you're exactly right. He's telling the truth as far as not knowing who the sellers are going to be. There could be less sellers than normal. Maybe this is just a PR thing, and I know as a GM he has to keep it real. But at that moment when the team is scuffling and you're on the television and you're doing this interview, I just think it was a bad look to get on there and start well, we might not do this and we might not do that. Um, Braves fans want to hear what you are going to do.
Yeah.
What are you going to do that's worth? I mean, my wife and I, look, as much as I'm moaning and groaning, we're going to Atlanta this weekend for the 4th. We're gonna check out 2 games. We're gonna go to the Mets series, and I'm going to spend my hard-earned money at Truist Park. Because I love this franchise and I love going to the games and supporting this team. That's not going to change. I just want to see something from our front office, and I put the blame on AA, but I think some of this blame is shared by, his bosses. The Braves are making money hand over fist right now. They're making money like crazy with the battery. We've seen the reports come out. We know what they're doing, and they've decided that instead of putting a lot of that money back into the team, they're going to be tightwads. And I think Braves fans are just tired of, having to pick up bargain basement pitchers. We just signed Hector Carrasco for the 18th time this year, right? We re-signed him. We're tired of counting on guys like Bryce Elder, who we know kind of what he is. I'm not going to be fooled again. I'm not going to be fooled by any 15, 20 game stretch where he looks like Greg Maddux and then turns back into, Rick Mailer. I'm not going to be fooled by it anymore. Like, we're tired of picking up guys off the – we signed Carlos Santana. What on earth? You even messaged me about. We were messaging about that. What is this move? What? Rowdy Tellez is still in this roster. I'm not even sure why he was signed to begin with. Rob is asking, what about some bats from the Royals? Marte, Garcia, look, I'd love to have any of those guys. Sorry about dissing Rick Mailer. They're not. I can't see the Royals. Rob, are the Royals looking to part with Caglione? I mean, I would get in a car and drive up there and take the guy to dinner right now if I thought he'd sign with the Braves.
I would drive him from KC to Atlanta.
Yeah, I'd go pick him up and drive him, and yeah. Sorry, Rick Mailer. I love Rick Mailer. That was the first name that came to mind for some reason. I just hope, yeah. Look, if you tell, like, I would trade some good prospects for a guy like Caglione, a young guy, or Garcia for that matter. I just don't know. I don't know. Our farm system's deeper than we thought it was.
Yeah.
Do you look for a spark in house? Like, I know it'd be a big jump. He's still in high A Rome, but you bring up a guy like Eric Hartman. He's absolutely crushing it down there. He's going to have a 20-30, first half of the season. Obviously when he gets to the big league. What about Jim Jarvis? I know we brought him up for a few games, but he's OPS and over a 1-pointer. He's taking walks. You telling me he can't be an upgrade over Ha-Seong Kim and even Jorge Mateo? What are we doing? I'm trying to be level-headed about this, but I am emotional about this baseball team because I love it so much, and I'm tired of people saying don't panic. Well, I can panic. I'm a fan, and even shout out to Jake Mastriani, who hosts the Locked On podcast for the Braves. He's also a big Braves fan, and he was on his podcast saying maybe they should panic. Maybe the Braves should panic because he said the same thing I put on X. We didn't panic in 2024, and everybody said don't panic. We didn't panic last year, and everybody said don't panic. And how did those seasons turn out, Mike? They turned out pretty crappy.
Yeah, not good.
So when I say panic, I don't really mean like, oh, the sky is falling, we have a terrible baseball team. It's more like we've got to make some moves that make this team equal to the Brewers and the Dodgers, or we're going to be sitting at home in mid-October again while we're watching those teams play for a championship. And I'm sick and tired of it. 2021 was great. We've had probably 3 teams at least, counting this one now, that are better than that 2021 team, and we have 0 more championships to show for it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and with 2021, we were a 500 ball club going into August.
Yep.
I think it was early August when we took over first place and never gave it back.
Yep.
And I remember sitting there watching them get to 500, lose a game, get to 500, lose a game, like, and
Yeah.
could not get over 500, and then finally got over, and then just took off from there.
Yeah.
And you're right, and yeah, the couple seasons after that, except for last year, were good. Sometimes even great, and then, but nothing came out of it. No hardware.
Yeah.
As
Not even
fans,
no hardware, Mike. No postseason victory. We haven't had a postseason series win since the World Series of
no,
2020.
what are you talking about? Series or single
Series.
game?
Series.
Okay, correct. Single
Yeah.
series, yes. I was
Yeah.
gonna say we beat the Phillies on the
Yeah, no,
the
series.
double play.
We haven't won a postseason series since the World Series.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I'm
Okay,
not.
I found this on the web for Have We Ever Won?
Apparently, I got Alexa going. So Alexa's even pissed off.
Yep.
I'm not trying to be greedy and say we should have won every World Series since then, but
No.
we've had some really good ball players and some really good teams, including this one, the start we got off to. But imagine if we'd had some pitching depth. Imagine if we just had one more major league consistent pitcher right now. And look, most of the guys that all of us, including myself, wanted us to sign in the offseason have turned out to be kind of crap for their teams this year. So there's a lot of guys I'm glad we didn't sign. But at this point, you'd take even just another Martin Perez type guy, a major league pitcher who's got experience, who's ready. Even that right now would make a big difference because right now it's Chris Sale, it's Martin Perez, and you still cross your fingers there. And then you hope for rainouts.
Yeah.
Right? What was the old Braves saying back in the day with Necro and saying, like, what is it? Necro and saying and pray for rain, right? Was
Spawn and Sane.
Spawn and saying pray for rain, right?
Yep.
We can't make it rhyme now with Sale. I don't know, Sale and somebody, but it feels the same way. Like, and poor Chris Sale, he can't even get any run support. I think they've scored 2 runs for him over his last 4 starts. Like, I understand the perspective of this is it's a swoon, it's a slump, and if it was in isolation in a vacuum, I would agree. But this has kind of been a trend for this offense for the last 2 years, and we knew we needed pitching coming into the season.
Yep, we did.
And here we are going into this Cardinal series. We don't even until recently it was TBA. Like, we're piecing this thing together, man. We're the Atlanta Braves. We're not the no offense to these franchises. We're not the A's. We're not the Kansas City Royals, the Angels. We are the Atlanta effing Braves. We have the money. We have the history. We have the infrastructure. We should not be starting Bryce Elder and Grant Holmes and J.R. Ritchie. That's where my frustration lies. That's where my frustration. And I'm not saying that he won't make moves, but what I heard the other day was him setting up, hey guys, this may be the reason we don't make all the moves you want us to make. And okay, fair enough. I just think the message at that moment, especially, he couldn't have known when he recorded that interview that it was be in the middle of another disastrous offensive performance.
Yeah.
But man, it landed wrong with me. And judging from the likes and mostly positive comments I got from that, most of it, the Atlanta Braves fandom agreed with me. They didn't like what they heard either from Anthopoulos. So I just want to win, man. I just want to see this franchise take advantage of a window here where I feel like we could have won more. And just like the Phillies, that window is closing on this current group. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
I would like us to play well going into the All-Star break, and then hopefully be able to reset and come out of the All-Star break guns blazing. I mean, I don't know if the offense can do that. I feel like the pitching staff might be able to do that with Waldrop coming back, having already come back. Shaver sounds like he's about a month out, maybe a little bit less. And then Schwellenbach is probably late August, early September is what I'm hearing. I heard they're all slowly working their way back. So can I say that that's going to be our 5-man rotation with those three and Sale and Elder going into October. I would love to say that, but we can't guarantee that anyone's going to stay healthy. You never know with everyone that's coming back. They could very re-injure or relapse or whatever, and not be able to deliver come October. And like you said on previous episodes, do we trust Elder going into October? No. At the beginning of the first couple months, I felt like I might have been able to, but he's showing his true colors, and I don't think I can.
They figured him out, and you can't throw 91, 92 if you're not getting the location. You leave 91, 92 over the plate in the major leagues, you're going to get hit hard. Looking at the Cardinal series, you got Martin Perez. Looks like, let's see. So we're going to go Lopez in game 1. Make sure I'm right about that. Perez in game 1. Perez in game 1. And again, getting asked for more than Martin Perez, but you're always, or at least I am, I'm always like, okay, is this the game where Martin Perez gives up 6 earned, in 2 innings? You just never know. But he's been great. Then Lopez, who was okay in that start last week where he pitched the first 3 innings. Velo was okay. Location was okay. He had a lot of hard hit balls. If you believe in that's the other thing. I'm a little bit, I understand the stats back some of the stuff up, but my goodness, I tweeted this yesterday. I'm hearing some of our Braves brethren. Well, the Braves had more hard hit balls than the Giants in that final game. Well, big effing deal. Yay, we hit the ball hard. Sometimes, the Giants were killing Chris Sale with the little bloop flares and sometimes you just got to make contact. And there are times with guys on base, we can't even do that. Kudos to Austin Riley. He did do that with a man on base in the 9th inning. He grounded out to first and got a run home. And then, we lost anyway. But we hit the ball hard. Well, fantastic. We lost. At the end of the day, we lost. So, but Lopez, let's see what he can do. Maybe they back him up with Waldrop. I don't know what their plan is there because there's a 3rd game of that series. They haven't announced the starter. So I don't know if we're looking at Grant Holmes or Waldrop. I thought Waldrop looked okay in his return. He walked 4 guys. He got himself in a couple of jams and got out of it. He's always had a little bit of a command issue, so the walks don't surprise me. But he's going to have to clean that up. And then the weekend, maybe we're set up with Sale. I would say Elder, but now, who knows? But this is my whole issue. Why are we even having these conversations? Why did we not go get a pitcher? You can't count on these guys to be healthy. And I know it's not their fault, Mike. I know it's not Ronald Acuna Jr.'s fault. But, man, at some point, you do have to wonder. And we've talked about this on other podcasts, and this is not a new subject, but is it better to just be like John Kruk? The old saying, you can't pull fat. These guys are in such good shape. In the 80s and 90s, I don't remember. I'm sure it happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I don't remember anybody sitting out weeks with a strained oblique or a hammy or a hamate bone. What the hell is going on with these ball players? Get your ass in the lineup and play ball, right? I don't remember any of it. The only thing I remember from the 80s and 90s is when they used to play on that terrible artificial turf at Veteran Stadium and Three Rivers and Riverfront, and they get turf toe. Other than that, man, I don't remember pitchers getting hurt that much. Obviously, they're throwing harder now. But even hitters with the obliques my goodness. And by the way, the oblique thing must be worse than I think because Drake Baldwin looks like Ha-Seong Kim right now. That's another issue. Now, I know he's going to snap out of it at some point, but it seems like everything that could go wrong has gone wrong at once. It just snowballs, I'm trying not to be so negative, but I don't know, man. I don't know. This is me being not negative, but realistic. And I know they lost tonight, but I could very well see the Phillies being in first place by the All-Star break. And that's disturbing after you had a 10.5 game lead. That's disturbing.
I don't think we'll see Philly in first by the All-Star break. I think we should be able to. I'm thinking at least take one game from the Cardinals, and should be able to take two from the Mets, and that's going because I think it's a 3-game series against both. So going 500, I don't think Philly would need to sweep to pull that off. So, and they've already lost to Pittsburgh, so I don't think it's possible unless we blow everything.
No.
I don't. Yeah, which is awfully possible, obviously.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for the Giants game again that we watched on live, we would have got swept by the Giants. But
This was really fun, by the way. We need to do that again. That was really fun.
Yeah, I thought I given we only lasted until about the 6th inning, but that's fine. I mean, it made sense.
Yeah.
It was about 12:30 at that point, so some of us need to sleep. But yeah, I don't think we're going to. I honestly don't think we're going to have to worry about that. I think we can probably pull out these 2 series of 500 between the 2 of them. But yeah, I get it. It feels like the sky is falling, but I think we should be okay. I think some of these people can snap out of their slumps and be decent. I don't know if Ha-Seong Kim can. I hate to keep going back to him, but I mean, if you're that far down, you're hitting 069, something's got to give.
Yeah. So, by the way, if I had to double check myself, the Braves started the month of June 5-1. Started 5-1. They beat Toronto 2-3. They swept Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
It was that road trip to the White Sox and the Mets that seemed to start this thing. So they started 5-1. They're 9-13 right now for the month of June. So they are 4-12 since that start in June. That does include a series win over the Milwaukee Brewers, but if you look back at that series, it was very fortunate. It was very fortunate to win 2 of 3. It could have gone very easily a sweep the other direction. So, and then you lose 2 series to the Giants, who, other than the Braves, they can't beat anybody else. The only series the Mets have won in June, guess who they beat?
Us.
The Atlanta Braves. Looking at last week, thank you again to Nick Eck for putting this together for us. Drake Baldwin, 0 for 21 with 9 strikeouts. Matt Olson batted .333. Thank you, Matt. 1 RBI, 8 hits, 24 at-bats, no homers, a couple of doubles. Ozzie Albies, 136, 3 for 22. No homers. Mauricio Dubon, thank you, Mauricio. He batted .320, had a homer and RBI, 8 hits, and 25 at-bats. Austin Riley, 4 for 21 with 6 strikeouts. No extra base hits, by the way, for Riley. Mike Yastrzemski, we talked about how bad Ha-Seong Kim is. Mike Yastrzemski, 1 for 13, 4 strikeouts, including an absolutely horrific at-bat with the tying run on base in the 9th inning on Sunday. Horrific at-bat.
Yeah.
Michael Harris, who's been our most consistent hitter last week, 208, 5 for 24, no homers. He did have 2 doubles. Dominic Smith, regression monsters hit him really hard, 3 for 15. Eli White, 2 for 10. Jorge Mateo, 0 for 6. Ha-Seong Kim, 0 for 11. Joey Bart, 2 for 7 with a home run. We had 2 home runs last week. Dubon and Joey Bart. We have Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Michael Harris on this team, Mike, and our only 2 home runs came from Joey Bart and Mauricio Dubon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, a slump is a slump, but this is more than a slump. And I hope I'm wrong. I want everybody who's watching this show on X, and thank you to everybody. We got a lot of viewers tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope that every one of you who are mad at me right now for being too negative, hope every one of you get to come on our show later in the season and say, I told you so. I hope every one of you get to come on and say, how dumb you sounded, Jason, back in June. I hope you're saying this in October when we're celebrating a World Series. Okay, I hope that all happens. I will gladly eat crow and take my beatings. But I want anybody in their right mind right now who's a Braves fan who honestly feels like this team is going to the World Series to tell me that right now in the comment. Just tell me. I'll go on record as saying I'm brave enough to go on record as saying this team's not going to the World Series. All right, and I hope I eat those words. I hope me and Mike are having a call together where we're trying to figure out how to rename this podcast next year. Okay.
Yep.
952126, whatever we'll go with next year. But some of you sunshine pumpers need to be brave enough to come out and say, yeah, I think this team can do it. We're going to do it. I don't see it, Mike. I don't see it. I just hope I'm wrong, but the Dodgers and the Brewers would eat us alive right now in a 7-game series. And I don't trust our GM. I don't trust him to make the right moves. Maybe he will. But I don't see it. And Schwellenbach can come back, and Schaver can come back. Hopefully Waldrop refines his form. But A, we're counting on those guys to come back in time, and B, we're counting on them to come back and be what they were before they were hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure you can count on that. So I hope we go 6-0 this week or 7-0. I think we're playing a 4-game set with the Mets. Like I said, we're going to 2 games. I want to see them win. I hope we go 7-0, and next week everybody can come on here and give me my beating. I'll take it. I sincerely hope that's what happens. Mike's speechless. He's like, I'm tired of hearing this shit from Jason.
No, I'm not. I was pulling up my phone. Because we still have to get to trivia. That's why I want to make sure we didn't forget.
Yeah, we'll definitely get the trivia in for sure.
No, and to defend AA, he notoriously is holds everything very close to the chest.
He
and
does.
doesn't let anything get out. Even rumors. So hopefully he's the smoke screen is my thought. Is he's saying nothing's going to happen, but he's got something big in the works. I would love to say that's Scooble, but it's probably not going to be him. I don't want to give too much up for him. That's beside the point. I would like especially when I saw was it last night or the night before. I wouldn't have a problem with Sonny Gray. Come from Boston.
Absolutely. Bring him on.
I don't think I've heard people saying we need 2 starting pitchers. I'm not with everything. Everyone's coming back. I'm not sure we need 2. I think we need 1 and at least a bat or 2. And JJ, like you said, JJ Bleday would be great. I'd love him. Because I mean, you said 240, and it sounds like growing up for us that's a low batting average. But that's not.
No, that's pretty much Matt Olson. Yeah, Matt Olson's batting average. Yeah,
exactly. Like someone like him. I'm not sure who else off the top of my head, but like I wouldn't have a problem with someone that's not going to break the bank. That's not going to be command a whole lot of prospects. Because I'd like to keep some of these young kids. I don't want to give up an Eric Hartman. I don't want to have to give up someone like a Caminiti or Owen Murphy or anything like that. I'd rather keep these guys and develop them and possibly get them up to Atlanta at some point. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
if we can pull off something like a Sonny Gray, because Boston's done in it. I know I said everyone in the AL is still in it, but Boston's not trying. Yes, they just swept the Yankees.
The Yankees in 4, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not trying. Because I hear it up here. I'm an hour from Boston, so I hear all the chatter about the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, the Scooble thing I think is ridiculous. That's not an AA type of move. We're not going to give up a bunch of prospects for a rental. Who knows what the free agent market's going to look like. Now, if Scooble's agent, which we know he's not because it's Scott Boras, were to tell AA, hey, we'll sign an extension with the Braves because we know the uncertainty of next year and the lockout and all that stuff. But Boras is not that guy. He wants his guy to hit free agency. They'll wait. I would take Sonny Gray. I would take Casey Mize. I would take Logan Webb, who Posey said he's not trading Logan Webb, but you never know. I would take Robbie Ray at this point. I mean, he's been good against us. I don't know how good he'd be against the rest of the league, but Right now, I would take any major league ready pitcher where we didn't have to rely on Bryce Elder or Grant Holmes. And no offense to either Elder's early season performance, without his early season performance, we're probably already in second place. So I'm not taking anything away from what Elder did early on. And without what Grant Holmes has done, I mean, he hasn't been awful, but Holmes belongs in that bullpen role. And, Didier Fuentes has been so good. He had a hiccup the other day. Velo was a little bit down, but he said it was because he was focusing on location. He's been so good in that role. I hate to move him back to starter just right now, but I mean, it may become a necessity depending on how Waldrop does. And I agree with you. I don't want to mortgage the farm. We've got more young talent down there than we thought we had. We got Tate Southensee, we got Eric Hartman, we got John Hill,
Lodis.
Yeah, Lodis. I know we're missing some other guys. So we got some pitchers. Caminiti's still down there. We got, J.R. Ritchie, I think, will still become a pretty good pitcher. He struggled a bit as major league starts this year, but a lot of talent down there we didn't realize we had, or nobody realized how good they were going to be. So, yeah, I don't want to mortgage the farm. However, as I mentioned on an earlier episode, I do feel like this might be the year to go all in, push your chips in the middle of the table, and try to win a World Series before this lockout hits. But, I'm kind of backing off of that, honestly, because I don't know if AA would go get the right people. And, frankly, in a season where, in my opinion, 3 teams right now look like they're better than us in the National League: Dodgers, Brewers, Phillies. I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. The Phillies, they lost tonight, but I mean, they have Sanchez and Zach Wheeler. Yeah. They at least have 2 guys they can count on to be stoppers. We have Chris Sale. That's it. And God forbid something happened to Chris Sale. Every time that guy starts, I'm on pins and needles hoping he doesn't grab an elbow or, grab a shoulder, because that would end our season.
Or die for a ground ball like last year.
For a ground ball, absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, tomorrow night when the Braves play, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be paying attention. I love the Braves. I always will. I know I sound negative, and the reason I sound negative is because I care, and I want to see this franchise should have had more success. They should have won more titles. It's hard to say that. I've defended them in the past. The 90s should have had more titles. You had Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. You had Fred McGriff. You had Chipper Jones. You had Terry Pendleton. You had all these great players. You got 1 title. And I feel like we're about to do that again in a window with Acuna and Olsen and Riley and Ozzie. I just want to see us succeed. That's all. So if I'm negative because I'm passionate, then I guess I'm negative. But that's where we're at. Rob says he agrees. Dodgers, Brewers, and Phillies are better teams. I don't know about the Cubs. I don't know if I go that far, Rob, but maybe. Maybe right now.
Cubs fan, so that makes sense.
He does. Yeah, he is. Right as of right now, given what the Braves have done in June, it's hard to argue that point. But those first 3 teams for sure. That could change. And I'm still holding out hope because that's what baseball fans do. And it makes baseball both beautiful and awful at the same time because you hold out hope no matter what. But we'll see. This is a big week. I think this is a big week for the Atlanta Braves at home. 7 games against 2 teams they're capable of beating. The Cardinals have been better than we thought, but they're not world beaters. And the Mets are the Mets until we play them. So 7 games. When we meet again next Monday, Mike, if we're not at least 5-2 this week, it could be a lot uglier on this episode next week if we go any worse than 5-2 against these 2 teams.
Well, I mean, next week we have a guest coming on. So
we do. Thank goodness. We got Mark Fredrickson coming back to tell some more stories about his time as the official scorer for the Braves. And that's fortuitous timing because if it is another rough week, we'll just say, hey, we got Mark on this week. We're just going to focus on that.
I'll give you like a couple minutes to be negative if we have
Right,
a
right.
bad week.
Well, you know, by then I will probably been kicked off of X by complaining Braves fan. No, I mean, it is what it is, man. I'm passionate about it, and when they are, I can handle losing. What I can't handle is awful baseball, and they've played awful baseball for the last really 3 weeks. It's not just the offense, it's not just the pitching. The defense has let them down. I mean, Chris Sale was probably ready to murder some people on Sunday. The defense behind him let him down. So it's just odd with baseball, but it is baseball. Like things just seem to the ball finds you. You know that old saying. You know, Riley's struggling at the plate, and he had a couple dribblers hit towards him that were tough plays, without a doubt. And it's like the ball just finds you, man, when you're struggling. Like, but on the other hand, Austin, we signed you to the biggest deal in Atlanta Braves history. Make the play, get the hit, do something positive, man. So we'll see. We'll see. I still have hope, but it feels good to vent it out a little bit. But I think you did a good job of. I think you did a good job of playing the other side, Mike. Keeping it positive, keeping it real. I'll just my Braves bottle's ready to go if I need it. But yeah, hey, look, you know, appreciate everybody that tuned in. We had a lot of viewership tonight. Thank you guys. I hope you were able to tune in Friday night to our kind of our watch party during the Giants game. That was a lot of fun. We'll do that again with our buddies from NYMLB Talk and others. Make sure you tune in on Wednesday nights live on X for Clearing the Bases with myself and Chris and Rob from NYMLB Talk and our host, our illustrious host, Nick Arno from Rounding Third, and Lorenzo from Big League Takes as well. We have a lot of fun with that show. Just all things baseball we discuss there. And believe it or not, Mike, we're coming up on changing the format again not too long from now. We decided to go match game this second time, and we'll see what happens the third time. We're going to have some kind of all-star special with everybody, with all that group, including, you know, Mike, you're welcome to jump on that. We're going to just have kind of a watch party round table for the all-star game coming up and just talk about all things first half baseball. Hopefully by then we'll have a little more positive things to talk about with our Braves. Just a lot of good stuff from a lot of good content creators on social media. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and let's have a good week, man. Let's watch our Braves this week. Let's watch them 5-2, man. 5-2. We're doing it. We're going 5-2 this week.
All right, trivia before we forget.
Trivia. Do it. The
Okay.
floor is yours.
So 2 weeks ago, the question was, in 2023, the Braves had 8 All-Stars, which is the second most ever in All-Star history. Can you name them? And you were able to do it off cam. So do you want to run down who it was? Do you remember who it was?
I doubt I remember all of them now, but
Okay. Do you want me to just list them off, or do you want to try and do it?
Yeah, just go ahead and list them off. Go ahead and list them off.
All right. So first base, Matt Olson. Second base, Ozzie Albies. Third base, Austin Riley. The one that I thought might stump you was shortstop Orlando Arcia. And I want to say it was the 5th or 6th inning. I'm not sure exactly what inning it was. All 4 of them were out there playing together, which I thought was a cool thing. Like you have the entire infield for one team come from that. So I thought that was cool. Right field, Ronnie. This one's kind of shocking as to how injured he's been. Catcher, Sean Murphy.
Yeah.
And then two starters, Spencer Strider, and your favorite, Bryce Elder.
Yeah, look, I thought he was on his way to his second one, you know, the way the season started, but
yeah. So there was we had a little bonus question at 1.2. There was 3 teams that had 9, which is the actual record.
Yeah.
Those were the 1943 St. Louis Cardinals.
What a team.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even know who was on there.
I have no idea. No idea. Stan Musial. That was before Stan, wasn't it? Stan Musial on that team? I don't know.
43.
I'm sure Rob can tell us.
Slaughter was probably on there because he was there in the 46 World Series. 52 Brooklyn Dodgers, and then 58 and 59 New York Yankees. The 59 one was 9 of them across the 2 All-Star games, because 59, 60, 61, and 62, I think there were two games. I'm not 100% sure on the years, but sounds about right.
By the way, Musial's rookie season was 1941. So I just looked it up. Just briefly.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So this week, this is going along with the whole try not to be too pessimistic on your part. So far this season, the longest losing streak that we've had was 4, and it just happened.
Yeah.
What is the longest losing streak that a team has gone on and still won the World Series?
Ooh, man, that's good stuff, Mike. Interesting. I need to, Rob, me and you need to just spend some time doing some historical podcast work, because you got a lot of knowledge there. That's a great question, Mike. I'm not going to have any idea, to be honest with you, but that's a really good question. That's good. Yeah, let's think about that. So the team that ended up winning the World Series and had the longest regular season losing streak. Wow. Okay. You have to think about that one. It's good stuff, man. You always have a good one.
Right.
I could make some guesses. This is a Braves trivia, but it wasn't the 95 team. Could have been the 21 team. But they weren't great.
I'll give you. It's not the Braves.
Okay. I figured that'd be too easy. All right. Yeah. I have to think about it. I'll say, well, I don't want to give anything away, but was it pre-wild card or post-wild card?
Pre-wild card.
Pre-wild card. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Good stuff. Well, we will have the answer next week. We will be here next week to celebrate the Braves' recovery from this slump. Fingers crossed.
Speaking good juju out into the world, yes.
Good juju, especially, like I said, my wife and I will be at the games Friday night and Saturday, even if it is 98 degrees with 100% humidity. We'll be there. We'll see how it goes. I do have some optimism in my body, I promise. So this week, 5-2 or better. I'm going with that. And if not, we'll be back next week to talk about it either way. So thank you, Rob. Appreciate you joining us tonight. And we could have put Rob on camera. We should have just brought him on the show. Good stuff. But Mike, thanks for playing the optimist and the level-headed part of our duo as I go off the deep end. Appreciate you staying and keeping the ship righted. So I'm sure a lot of our fans feel the same way. So thank you all for joining us on X tonight. And we're going to call it a night. We'll be back next week and talk about our Braves once again. So in the meantime, we'll see you at the ballpark, and go Braves.